Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. It's good to see you all in the chat. Let me know here before we get too far into the show if everything is all working correctly, because of course we experienced some audio issues in yesterday's live stream. Thanks so much for joining me. I can see TradeSpotting in the chat. Howdy doody. Can see K-Doc. We've got the voice winners. Greetings from Spain. Thanks so much for joining us all the way from España. And we also have Zoner as well with us today. Thank you so much. He's asking everybody in the chat there, are you scared? And that's what we'll be talking about in today's episode. Are you scared is the next stop to the downside, as that arrow was suggesting in the video thumbnail. Well, we've got quite a few things to look at, and of course we do have some weakness in the markets at the minute that we've been talking about for the last wee while, and we have been able to identify a few things to keep our eyes on to look out for the prices. So let's check in with how we're getting on with those key levels, and I'll just join you in the chat in a wee bit. Thanks so much for Bruno telling me everything seems good there. That's excellent with the audio. I'll just give it one last, couple of seconds here before we get started, just to check with you if everything is all good. Hi there, Susan. Good to have you with us again. Nice to see all the regulars here as ever. So yeah, everything working good. I think everybody would have said something if it was not going so well at the minute. So I'll just jump on over to the live scene and see you in the charts in a second. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's get the likes hit. Get the likes hit, ladies and gents. I'll see you in a sec. Wow! And we are back. So thank you so much, and it's good to have you all in the chat. And let's just start off by taking a look at the Bitcoin pricing. And in today's episode is going to be quite a good one because, well, let's see. Because what I'm going to do in this one is every so often I'm going to hit the highlight button in the back end of the YouTube there so that I can get a highlight video section from the video, and that'll constitute the daily analysis kind of static video from within the live setup. So that's going to be kind of a little bit interesting, almost like a behind the scenes filming of the technical analysis, and we can just do this, I suppose, ourselves, build up a picture together, right? And then afterwards I can put a quick sort of summary together, stick it in as a highlight, see how that goes for the show. So don't really have as firm a schedule as we've had in the recent times, but I'll say that it's 4 minutes 39 seconds into the video just now, so I'll just add another one of those comments like I've been doing recently and say 5 minutes in is the BTC USDTA, and then we'll figure out the whole highlight thing at the end of this section, and I'll see you back in the chats in a wee while. Thanks so much for joining me, as I say to everybody, and get your likes in there so that other people can get their eyes on this wonderful technical analysis video. Thanks so much to everybody. Cool, so this is the Bitcoin 4-hour chart up here at the minute, and you can see that the volume has kind of tapered off a little bit in this phase of consolidation that we're going through currently, having come up towards the top side and put in this secondary peak here, and it wasn't actually managing to come in with that lovely sort of cup with handle. It is closer looking kind of on the log chart than on the other one when I flick it between them. This is linear that we're looking at just now, but of course we didn't manage to really achieve that, and then we sloped towards the downside. And you can also see a similar sort of setup in a sense here on the Ethereum USD chart, for instance, as well. So it's always worth looking between the two. If you're joining here just to look at the Bitcoin episode, check out the Ethereum stuff coming up later in the show. And what we can also see here is that there's a potential for this to be some sort of triangular shape formation. We could have a descending triangle on the go, and we also can see from looking at the lows that we had recently coming up to these highs that in all likelihood this price is residing currently below the 236, and we can also see that this node up here at 19,300 down to 19,200 is of key importance for us in terms of looking towards the top side with regards to both our previous highs here, if we were to kind of turn that around, and with regards to the most liquidity overall in this section when we look towards the left. Then looking down the way, if we have gone past the 236, in all likelihood we have, and that this line here with this wick comes in at around about where the 50% move would be on a Fibonacci on this one, we could be looking down past that area towards towards this next node coming up on the VPVR in there at 17,650 or so, and that would be the next downside area, and that probably ties together with some of the other things that we could put on the charts to give us a bit of a clear idea about how we're going. In terms of the trend at the minute, can we say that it's towards the downside? Well, until we take out some of these key target areas below us, we're not going to really be able to say that just yet. And but there's a few things that we can do to, of course, kind of highlight that picture for us. Currently, we can see by putting on the Bollinger Bands here on the 4-hour time frame that we're tracing it towards the downside right now, without any resurgence towards the upper side, and then of course taking out this 20-period moving average, which forms the basis line of the Bollinger Bands, then things are of course looking fairly sort of dire straitsy for the old Bitcoin. We've also got the same concept in terms of the sort of the three rise and valleys that we can see being talked about in other coins at the minute that I've heard tales of in the Discord chat. By the way, if you want to join the community Discord thing, there's a link in the description. Anyway, somebody was telling me through that there's this three rising valleys type idea going on the go in VeChain. Having spoken about VeChain in yesterday's live episode, well, we can see that there's this sort of three descending valleys episode on the go here as well, with these sort of three lower peaks, and it's the same sort of dealio. If we do take out the lower side here with these targets down at 18,600 and decent time frame basis, then of course we're looking for a potential breakout of any move that you could have here. Taking out this top side target, of course, comes in with our Bollinger Band is, so it's not out of the question just to go up there and visit it. So upside targets kind of come in there around about that 19.5 area, and that puts us in more or less in play for everything that we spoke about as well in yesterday's episode with regards to the key areas on here. Bringing the drawings back onto the chart, we can also see then in terms of if this is actually a symmetrical triangle rather than a descending triangle, could this constitute a breakout? Well, currently, you know, we have got a slight increase in volume, but it's nothing to write home about, so there's me not getting out the old notepad and doing that just yet. But I can, of course, construct the sort of the Gestalt image for us as well, dragging this in here and saying, well, this is of course the key area to look out for. Movements towards the downside come back into that bigger picture broadening wedge structure, and we could be looking down to a 50% retracement down there at 18k if we do actually manage to take this out and go for a measured move, you know, with in terms of the textbooks sort of, you know, Bilkowski measured expectation. Movements on beyond that could take us down towards these 17k areas, and of course then the targets to be looking out for, if I just bring it back up here, would maybe perhaps be in at that golden pocket sort of zone or so, starting off and towards that mid 17,000 area for us overall. So shall we hit the highlight button on this one and talk about this just in sort of a form of 2 minutes for people, or is there something more that really needs to happen? This has all happened on the 4-hour time frame. Maybe we need to check in with things on the 24-hour time frame and just kind of point out the facts here with regards to the shape that we're looking at, and of course the overall lack of positivity with regards to the oscillators down below and the convergence that we're seeing there in the DMI. Does that need to feature inside the highlight video? Let me know in the comment if that's the sort of thing that needs to be in there, or if we just keep that for ourselves here in the live video where we all get to see the magic going on. I don't know, what do you want to make of all of that? So we also could go down towards the 15-minute time frame as well and do something on that. Perhaps maybe that's what we take a look at with regards to the sort of the video for the Bitcoin technical analysis. What do you think? As I just sort these things out a wee bit, I think they're taking up too much real estate on the screen, and pop that into a bit of more clarity. Look, we're towards the downside here. We've got a green candle at the minute, and I'm going to come in here with the start of the Bitcoin technical analysis and the highlight thing here in a second by saying that we are going towards the downside here with a bit of bullish divergence, and can we see this turning around and then build up a negative picture going back up the way, right? So we're going to start off by saying, yes, cool, look at this, we're about to go rocket ships to El Munio, right? And then by the time we get up to the daily picture, we'll be thinking a little bit more negatively with this one. So let me just kind of do this then with us, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good time. By the way, hit that like button, and thanks for joining me as we do this technical analysis live. And let me just add a stream marker here as I hit the button and say, great, so this is going to be the Bitcoin technical analysis for the day. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. My name is Rocky Outcrop. Do live technical analysis on a daily working day basis here on YouTube. come and join me again for that. And we're going to take a look at Bitcoin pricing, and we can see that there's some good positivity here on the 15-minute chart, with the possibility of us all putting on our jetpacks and taking off towards the moon. But could there be some threats lurking here on the broader time frame for us? Let's just dive straight on into the charts here and see what we can find out. Let me run the intro clip. So that's a good laugh, right? There's the intro clip. Well, here we are back in the charts, and as you can see, we've had this downward trend on the 15-minute time frame, and this is looking back, since we had this dead cat bounce drawing on the chart here. But looking back over the last few days, we've not really seen any upward side pressure. It's all kind of been towards the downside, but we do have this potential looking area here for a bottom, where if we do see this operating as a local low just at this moment in time, then of course with a green candle coming in here over the next 15 minutes to half an hour or so, perhaps we push towards the top side and set this in as being a higher low overall, with this outcome above 18,975, so pushing those 19,000 areas again, with the question of asking, are we coming in and turning things around? It would be nice to see. And then the next area up, if we do get a few consecutive highs, would be towards where we have this Fibonacci retracement point. And if I just jump up to 24-hour time frame, I can see that's coming in. Yes, indeed, that is that 236 Fibonacci, and that would undo that on the larger time frames for us and give us a bit of positivity to look forward to. However, of course, there are some negative things. If we just want to take a look first off here on the 15-minute time frame, we can see the DMI starting to have this negative aspect towards it, with the negative DI moving towards the top side, with the ADX falling along with it here above 25 and moving with a degree of momentum towards the top side. And we do have this this bottom having come in, if this is were to be a bottom, without any bullish divergence anywhere looking back along these last lows. And we can also pop in a little bit more sort of structural visual aids here to give us the sort of a bit more context as we look at this movement down the way, tracing the Bollinger Bands towards the downside. A lack of a green candle at the minute towards taking us up towards this median line here, of course, would be negative. Now, so what we really do need to see is something along the lines of what we've been talking about so far here happen at some stage along the way, whatever that happens to be for you. Then that would be cool. Could it be now? Well, we're not seeing the volume or anything like that to come in. There is this larger volume candle here, and we've not had something like back over in this period of time. So maybe, this could be considered to be stopping volume, and overall, that would be the most bullish looking aspect of this chart currently at the minute, which is of course very much stanced in a downward trend on this time frame. Building that picture then up the way, we can see that we've also been in a downward trend towards the downside here, within the structure which could ultimately be, of course, a descending triangle. The Bollinger Bands showing us that we actually also have scope for at the minute to come right down here and test this lower end of the descending triangle on the 1 hour time frame. And overall, actually, we're positioned negatively structured here, with of course negative movement on the RSI as well. So we're not seeing anything particularly positive of note here. Moving up towards the higher time frames, such as the 4 hour, we can see that we're very much positioned below that 236 that we alluded to earlier on, which is this faint line in the background, which is coming in at around about where we find the 20 moving average at the moment, giving us a bit of confidence there if we do want to try and have a movement towards the top side and reclaim any of these areas. Now, that would maybe invalidate this as being a descending triangle, or even put us in for a breakout from this move. If we do get a measured move off the back of this, then let it be said that it could be going up towards the 20,200 area and putting in all-time highs all over again. However, if we do break towards the downside, we've got the 618 coming in here around about that 7,500 to be really aware of. Looking over here towards the VPVR, you can see that it kicks back in it again around about that 7,500 zone, and maybe movements down below this is showing us that, of course, this remains as being a significant area now of liquidity as well at the top end if we were to come up and challenge those all-time highs yet again. Looking back as into the sort of the deep blue, dark, well, actually black of the space up there above us. Taking the Bollinger Bands off so we can see a bit more clearly on the chart here on the daily time frame. Let's have these sort of scaffolding marks here show us the construction work of the day. We've got an ascending, broadening wedge, which kind of overall just structures why it's working as a channel for us, I suppose, in a sense, or any sort of just idea in terms of directional movement, in terms of the trend, really, because we don't so much care about the top side of this thing. Currently, really what we're looking to is the lower side. So it's the same as whatever way you want to sort of bake those chickens. And what we have to see is if we can get towards the 75% area of this, break out of it, or else, of course, dissolve it as a pattern. I'm going to take that off the tops. Going to take the this line off the top side here and say, looking at this structurally, we need to be taking out our previous highs in terms of the bigger picture if we want to continue moving towards the top side, because we have to take into account, of course, the bearish divergence we have on the daily time frame. Whilst we've come up here and seen the volume tap out here at the top so far, and the movement down the way of the ADX crossing over the 40 line, and of course with the divergence we've happened overall there on the chart. So thanks so much for tuning in for this one, and of course if you want to see the full episode, then check out the live thing. And of course, if you're watching that right now with us, then that's cool, that's a good laugh. Let me just hit that stream marker button again and say that's the end of that section. So cool. I don't know, what did you think of that? Was that worth doing? Should I do that with the other coins of the day? And I'll just leave the chart off here on the 15-minute time frame. Say hello to everybody in the chit chat, have a wee glass of water here, and let me stick the moving averages on, so that at least there's more sort of value here in the live stream, because I didn't put them on the recorded video effort there that I'll be publishing aside from this. Now I don't know if that was worth it or not. Let's just see what people think in the chat room. As you can see, the structure here is obviously fairly negative. We could ultimately be putting in some sort of bottoming process if we get this sort of higher low coming in here and taking out these other areas. And you can think about that in any way you like, of course, until you've really pushed past the inflection sort of drop off point over here and taken out all of these moving averages and come up to test the 200 over here. Then really what you could be looking at overall is a bear flag. So I'd rather see this bark back up again in terms of this time frame. Let me just check in with the chat and see how everybody's getting along. Thanks so much for joining us here. What do we have? Scotty Sniper 93, when name changed to Rocky Jazz Hands. Scott Jones, oh nice to have you, man. It's good to see you, Scott, man. Good to have you here. Rocky knows his stuff, he is the man. Thanks so much for that. Good to see you, mate. Sonar says looks like distribution. Yeah, well, that's what it looks like when things start to go down. You're right there. TradeSpotting, I think we highlight video would be a bullet point list of important stuff across the daily and 4-hour time frames. Maybe that's what I should have done instead. Did anybody short it? Asked Susan Warrender. A little, closed at 18,700, waiting for the daily close now. Susan Warrender puts up some money bags. Wow, what happened to the voice there? Is Rocky a robot? Rocky is Johnny 5. That's correct, Susan. 127 kilobits of memory here. So yes, that's great. Yeah, we've got all the RAM and everything. So great. Okay, that'll do. I suppose we could do a quick summary in terms of the moving up the way here with Bitcoin. So a quick summary, I suppose, really 50-minute time frame. The potential for a turnaround here, but overall definitely very much bearish. Taking out our previous lows, of course, would look pretty terrible. That's the 18,000 area, and that 18,600 area. Start that again, shall we? Yeah, let's start that again. Thanks to the patience of the thingy. I'll stick another stream marker on here. Don't know how I'll do these things. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. Probably not. Right, so yeah, Bitcoin summary for everybody that's tuning in. Thanks so much for joining me. And on the 50-minute time frame, we could potentially be looking for a turnaround here if we manage to put in a local higher low overall, and then look beyond the 18,950 area up to that 19,000 key inflection point where we have the 236 Fibonacci retracement area. However, we do have all of these moving averages spread out in a bearish formation up above us, and a negative cross back over here in terms of the 15 minutes, in terms of the 200 simple and the 50 simple. So we're looking in a negative stance. We don't have good volume. Hoping for this to be stopping volume is a little bit much in the face of in the face of this downward trend. But the best looking aspects of this, of course, are the potential for this bullish divergence actually here, just here in the RSI, and then if this comes in as a higher low overall. In terms of moving up towards the 4-hour time frame, we've got this potential support. So actually scrap it. Going to just go on with the daily analysis. Actually, I don't need to do this all over again. People just have to be content with what they get. Thanks very much, everybody. 18 concurrent viewers, 16 likes. That's great. Let's see if we can keep the current likes higher than the viewers, whatever. And let's dive on over to take a look at Ethereum Bobs, because we're looking at the same sort of chat here, and it's very, very much interessante, the croissant of edge of knowledge. If we just hide all the drawings here for now, we can see the same idea overall in terms of the structure, not really kind of working out for us with this distribution potential for us at the top here. Of course, the easy to the eyes, pretty looking ascending, descending triangle here coming into play without the volume really having kicked in to say that a symmetrical triangle is just going to fire off now. But either way, you know, it doesn't matter if you're looking for mustard or ketchup on your hot dog. Either way, at the minute, it's looking pretty crap if we see movements down below 566, where we currently are essentially overall in this zone, in this area. Looking over at the VPVR, you can see, of course, there's not very much coming in here, and there is a contrast to be made when we jump up towards the 24-hour time frame and bring in historical price action. Okay, in fact, go over to a completely different chart and bring in historical price action. Then you can see that there was inflection around about these zones. Yes, okay, but so long ago that we're not really going to have to consider that in terms of this VPVR. So anyway, yeah, same sort of structure. Are we looking towards these moving averages to kind of give us some support? That's not very good, you know, for us if we do break down past that, because the next one that comes in here, just as a quick sort of glance look at things, comes in towards our previous low, as does the next one thereafter, and where the 50 simple moving averages. Now if we come down and test the 50 simple moving average, we could even be looking beyond that down towards the 24-hour 200 period simple moving average retest down there at the 350 zone. If that starts to happen, I think we'll be sort of forewarned with that knowledge. Coming down past the sort of 477 area would be key, where we find these two moving averages and our last sort of peak over here in September before we rallied towards the upside. This dearth in activity over here on the VPVR on the right hand side does have a lot to say about the price action, and the next time it kicks in is of course those key areas. But looking down the way, you don't want to be experiencing a 477 down to 377 drop in terms of price action, losing, you know, a solid $100 off there. That would be, of course, fairly painful to a lot of people. Bringing the drawings back on again then, and seeing how all of this lines up with regards to our Fibonacci points, etc. You can see 470 is, of course, the 618 of the larger Fibonacci retracement of the two. Is that right? No, gosh, where do I have this drawn in from? Where's the 1 point? Yeah, just coming in. If you draw this in from the point at which we went past the inflection area at 366 on the way up towards the top side, coming in here at November, then of course the 618 comes in at around about that zone. It's going to remove that blue one there. It's kind of distracting. The brush marks are distracting from yesterday's episode. Apologies to people for not having cleaned this up before filming today's live one. Hope you're all getting on very, very well, as ever. And yeah, of course, the 50 simple coming in at around about that zone as well, where we see the 56, the 54 exponential moving average as well, in at around about these areas. You know, $500 and stuff like that. That all feels fairly catastrophic. In terms of the grand scheme of things, if we go down from the highs that we put in over there towards that golden pocket zone, then you're looking at a 26-27% retracement. You could even be looking on beyond there, to be honest with you. We'd have to really take an assessment of the trend at that point and bear in mind where we find the sort of the 200 simple at if we want to come down and push past that area. The next time where we have a drop off in the VPVR comes in at around about 370, and it's worth bearing in mind in terms of these things, you know, that when you have the extension out into the price action of a big node on the VPVR, that's saying to you that there was a lot of activity in that area. Now of course as well, when there's a massive drop off, it's saying to you that there wasn't very much, and that gives you the idea that you can go to them and just snap right through to the next area, and of course that is very often the case, okay? But also what is worth bearing in mind is that these things have a degree of, you know, showing you where the end of the current sort of disagreement was, and then of course highlighting another key area for you in terms of support resistance, which is what I wanted to get at before when I was showing the drop off here and then wanted to fill it in, but that's from a different chart, evidently, link or something like that. this is what I'm looking to. We're obviously in an upward trend. Everything's been great. It's been great for a very long time. Very much positioned massively above the 200 simple moving average. Heavily trending towards the top side. Have been for 6 months or more. Looking back towards March over there, very, very long time trending towards the top side. 9 months at this stage. Enough to pop out a baby almost. But will we be giving birth to higher highs, or of course to sort of destruction and doom? And I think that this really starts to play out if we take out this area here, and this of the $500 mark. Before then, you're really just talking about whether or not we're coming in for what would be overall just a slightly diminished upward trend of this as being your sort of low, your high, higher low, and so forth. So we're going to need to wait for confirmation on that one to say that things are looking good over here with the potential for head and shoulders. Oh, we're getting some activity here. What's that? Joey P just subscribed. Great to have you, buddy. So what we're seeing here in terms of the RSI, potential for head and shoulders here, looking at the DMI, seeing the same sort of thing, and the movement down past the 40 area. You could be looking at a bit of negativity over the next wee while. So down the way towards the 50-minute time frame, you can see that the story that we're talking about in terms of Bitcoin, very much not the case, having moved down the way there. Let's just check in with Bitcoin. Yeah, not doing great there. Not doing great with that one. Still asking the question though until we move past that sort of 18,665, and it's going to be the same sort of story here with this one until we've really properly moved down the way. Is this leading the way for us though? On this 15-minute time frame, you can see the very much strong trend towards the downside. The first question obviously comes in here: are we going to push up and inflect? See the market push on past this in terms of the 15-minute time frame, where we have this 40 area, or come in with an equal of this previous high over here in the DMI. Interesting one for us to be taking a look at as we come in at this point here, with the potential for, of course, bullish divergence on this low right now if we were to take out this key inflection area. So we'll see how the prices respond. If we go down past 563 down the way, then of course by 560s, of course that's looking pretty dire, and we'll be also asking the question at some point, are we even going to come in here and even challenge this, and what sort of highs are we putting in with any retracement off the back of this, because any insubstantial movement back up the way wouldn't actually take out the 236. So currently we're looking towards 566 and getting that 570 zone for us to take or say that we have a low here, and then be able to count any of this sort of divergence on the go. Otherwise, of course, very much the trend being your friend. Let's not deny our friend overall here, as the current price line shows us that we're coming in and putting in potential for lower lows. Now, of course, we also know the broader pattern, so we don't need to panic and start panic selling. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice, but we were also bearing in mind 575, where we have that, where we have the 236. Taking that back out again will kind of put us in position to extend out this potential triangle area for a bit longer. Who really particularly cares about the pattern overall? Doesn't matter, because you could break this down in any number of ways. A sort of really rubbish head and shoulders here, if you like, really like that. You could also just be looking at the channel of this thing. There's so many different ways to fry omelets, or whatever this phrase goes. How did you think of that? I don't know if I can be really bothered making a whatchamacallem highlights version of this one. I don't know, what do you think on that right now? I think I'd probably prefer to just move on with the show, to be honest with you. Good to see you, 3000 Trin. Nice to have you in the chat room with us. Good to see you. What are you saying? What's up, Rocky? Got you on the big screen this noon. Nice one. Good to be on the big screen. Excellent. I love it up there. Yeah, man. Where's the volume? Big guys trying to get that price down. Well, of course, exactly. We're not seeing that currently, so that would be my kind of summary with this one. There's the potential for us to get many numerous fantastic things there in the 15-minute if you're looking to trade this short term. We're already seeing that potential turnaround as we see the prices coming up towards 565 as opposed to down towards 562. So you can see how that goes. Please make CCs available, says Shivam. You know what, buddy, if I just were to show you the options here, I don't know over here, I don't have the option of turning that on, even though I had it on before starting. So I'm afraid I'm just going to have to go with what I have to go with, I'm afraid, on that front, Shivam. Still, hey, do it. Hey, Shivam, he doesn't check the chat while doing TA. Okay, yeah, that's right, K-Doc. I generally speaking don't. Of course, you can always contact me with the old super chats or whatever, but otherwise I'm just going to kind of continue on with the show. We've got a nice cup with handle here, if you like. There's owner, that's right. It's this is water, Scottish water, as you can see here. Lovely HD water. Right, cool. Back on with the show. Maybe we could come back and do a 15-minute or a wee highlight of this. Or no, I will just do a wee highlight first of it all. I don't know if this highlight button thing I'm hitting works, but we'll see. Thank you so much for joining me here for this Ethereum USD technical analysis. My name is Rocky Outcrop. Welcome to the show. If you're just joining us, of course, then hit that like button and subscribe. Come back because we do technical analysis FOMO free on a daily basis here. And taking a look at the Ethereum chart on the 12-hour currently, we can see there's a few things of note. Are we forming out some sort of triangle? This is drawn in very, very, very loosely, of course, because we could even be breaking it, looking towards where we are right now with the price action being down below 566. The key area for us on this time frame really is going to be that 575 area if we are looking towards moving up the way and at least continuing on with this dance of the triangles over here or whatever, you know. But if we're not going to be doing the old triangle jig any longer, then look down the way towards 560 for your cutoff points down below the way. And bear in mind here on the 12-hour time frame and on the 24-hour time frame, the 12-hour time frame and the 4-hour time frame, that we very much have negative momentum with this downward movement here on the DMI. We have ended the musical chairs at this point, and of course we do have to look out for the potential for volatility. I would like to draw everybody's eyes to the fact that until we've really broken below this line, that we could very much bring ourselves back up the way and fill in this pattern here. If we look down towards the 15-minute time frame, how do we stand therefore in terms of the immediacy of this thing right now? We have got a lower low than our previous low, and it's coming in here with bullish divergence, looking here at both the DMI and the RSI. And if we bring up the MACD for us, we can see, of course, more of that bullish divergence. So as soon as we start to take out these moving averages here and move beyond 575, we could be looking at a very much confirmed lower low here, local low, and movements towards the top side. Any further movements that don't take out this area then thereafter would present as a higher low, and of course could present as like a sort of head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders here, depending on how you skew your eyes up to look at the charts. But overall what we're seeing is the potential for a turnaround here, and of course very much coming in here with our bungee jump of death, looking at the 560 area where we kind of identified a key inflection point for us. Movements down below there could trigger a measured move that would take us even as far down as the $500 area, and that's something to be very much aware of, where we see the 50% Fibonacci and of course our previous lows. Now coming in here and doing a golden pocket retrace, we'd see the prices going down to 470, but at that point I would start to get worried on the basis that of course we're taking out these previous lows, and of course anything that doesn't then take out our other highs afterwards could really put us in a bit of a jam in terms of consolidation patterns at the very least, or indeed even in terms of movement on the trend, with that new week new trend idea that we actually talked about in yesterday's video. Overall we have a different picture depending on how you look at things from the 50-minute time frame up the way in terms of towards the 4-hour time frame, where of course it's very much negatively stanced, towards the diminishing of the positivity here on the daily time frame with regards to these momentum oscillators. Now if we do see resurgence towards the top side, we got to be taking out these lines here up above us, but if we don't, then we could see convergence here as the ADX moves towards the downside. Eyes over the period of the week will go of course towards the position of that moving forwards, and of course our pivot or our sort of swing failure point that we identified in the past up there at that green horizontal line on that chart. On the weekly chart you can see that we've got very much bearish divergence in here, so movements down the way could of course be that trend changing move. Of course movements towards the top side could just see this being as a chance to reset the oscillators. Thanks so much for joining me to take a look at Ethereum versus USD. Of course this is a snippet from the live video, so check out that one. There's lots of good content in there for you, and I'll be back again tomorrow with more technical analysis. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out the other videos as well that are out on the channel, and join the Discord, like, subscribe, yada yada. You've seen YouTube. Thanks so much. See you again next time. Pop, there we go, friends, back with you again now, having done that technical analysis. That will be what I publish to YouTube later on after this video. Jumping on over then towards the whatchamacallums, the what's this what am I looking at? Link USD. I'm just seeing the chat coming up there asking for subtitles again. I'm probably sorry. I'm unable to put the subtitles on. Whoa, I fell over my words saying that sentence, so of course if you need subtitles that will have not been much use to you. I'm unable to put the subtitles on currently, my friend. I tried doing it but I can't. I tried doing it before the stream starts. Seemingly it doesn't work on the live stream options side for me. I tried to activate it. If it's not active, then it's not active. Let me just check in here with our friend Link then. Here on the weekly time frame, we can see that if I just hide these drawings here, the starting point, we can see that we're actually coming in and challenging our previous lows now for the first time, having given this yellow moving average here, which is the 8-period exponential, a proper test. In the past week, we've actually seen the prices come as low down as testing this 18-period several times, and in fact, we've even tested the 36-period moving average over here. As you can see, these are the numbers of those moving averages going in order: yellow, green, blue, sort of pinky, purpley, and then this red dotted line. There's the numbers there: 18, 8, 36, 54. They're all exponential. 50 and 200 are of course simple moving averages. The 200 hiding all the way down here on no, not visible on this chart actually currently. But there we go, moving down the way. So yeah, okay, looking good. We're just challenging our previous lows in an upward trend. How did we put in a high here? Well, it didn't come up higher than our previous one, so it's not, bullish, it's not bearishly divergent, but we didn't put in a high. All we've done so far is put in a higher low, so we're in this in-between period where, generally speaking, you're asking the question of where do you go next? Is it towards downside, which takes out our previous lows? Is it towards upside, which takes out our previous highs, or inflecting around there? And we're not going to learn an awful lot in terms of being able to trade this in terms of the small time frames right now with looking at this, but we can see that this prospective trading move or trade idea we talked about in yesterday's live video, which was of course an attractive option as well, looking at it at the time, is very much in profit currently on the screen there on the weekly time frame. So we just go down towards the 3-day, we can see how that's panning out. In fact, skip that, we'll go down towards the 24-hour time frame and see that we've come all the way down towards the lower end of our parallel channel. Of course, the target that we had in mind, and taking us in towards stop territory for that far too sort of premature trade to be taken at that point, testing just the 382 when we had these clear areas down below us. Now, is it actually at a point where you could do this in a far more manageable way? Well, if we put any stock in terms of this parallel channel towards the top side, then I think we probably could do that. Let me just hide the moving averages for now. Before I do hide them though, 24-hour time frame below the 50 simple, next target towards the downside, if you wanted to be really cruel about things, could be down here at the 200s, and that brings us in towards that $10 price point. Moving down the way 4-hour time frame, you can see that we're about to have a cross here on these two moving averages. So yes, but back up here and let me just hide those moving averages for us to make things a little bit clearer, and some of these sort of crosses from yesterday. We can see that the clear area in terms of resistance up above us at the minute, or and the next sort of profit taking target could be coming in here at that 236 at $14.30 that we've not been able to move up above and close in terms of because we did do it here, but we did it. How did we do it? We did it bearishly divergently at the time between these two peaks. So we've not been able to do it with momentum yet so far. And we're coming in here, and we know that the crucial line is where we have that parallel channel, because we know that this is supporting our upward movement overall. If we take this drawing off, then it doesn't matter what way you look at it. You could talk about those sort of three rising valleys that we spoke about as being the equal sort of opposite of that inverse of that descending triangle. Now, if you're looking at things from a textbook point of view, by the way, you might find out that the that looking at it from an ascending triangle point of view with regards to that particular pattern is, so to speak, in inverted commas, is maybe your way forward with that one, really is a sort of analog of it. But in this sense here, we clearly don't have that structure in terms of a flatter top here. What we have is an upward movement in an overall channel that we could potentially be breaking currently. Looking at the volume, very much low. Of course, we're looking for that to crack on, and there's various other ways that you can sort of characterize that low. If we go over to a different chart where perhaps it's maybe not quite got the same noise on it for us, indeed, then I can just sort of say that if this is the lower end of our parallel channel in general, then you're looking at this and saying, well, this is a sort of, in effect, a neckline as well with regards to those movements. But if we do move down, you know, past that zone where that lines up, then this is kind of a neckline horizontally as well. And that's what we're looking to with this one. So we want to see it operate obviously as support. We don't have the volume to confirm anything. In terms of down here, in terms of on the 24-hour time frame down here on the ADX, we can see that the ADX line on the DMI, sorry, we can see the ADX lines in chop territory down below that 20 area. And we have a cross that's negative. So, you know, that was what you would expect to see here if we were kind of challenging at a neckline potentially with, of course, the strong potential 60% chance, and they're going to say as well overall, towards going towards the top side. Now, there's a couple of things that enable me to say that and still remain sort of bias free and to give that neutral technical analysis I like to give, is that you've got to say that overall there is that sort of statistical chance of things or whatever, and that if you look towards the prior trend, then of course that's towards the top side, and that is a key component of what a head and shoulders would be anyway. So really all you're saying is that you would see that the trend would remain as your friend. So that does then draw our attention back over towards looking at the next low thereafter. Having come in here and put in several wicks, and at the minute we're putting in a body which is ever so slightly higher than this one. In the next 2 hours and 52 minutes, if we do see movements down below that 12 buck area, then maybe we're actually asking about breaking that structure, and we have to then really revisit the $10.33 where we had that 236 that was a good entry before. That would be unfortunate. Excuse me about the sirens out there, they're crazy. But then quick reminder to people, in terms of now that we have come so far down the way, they've gone past this 236 in here at the sort of 1425 area. Have we thoroughly enough tested this area where we find the 50% Fibonacci retracement point, your most common sort of area in terms of typical turnaround potential areas, you know, if you're going by stereotypes? And here we have it in here forming perfect confluence with all those other things we talked about already. So that's key for us. So how does that look then in terms of the 15-minute time frame with regards to what we've been looking at so far? And we can kind of do this along here together. This time looking at this low, how does it line up versus that one? It is lower on the RSI, but it's higher than this one over here. Let's make a broad comparison point and say, well, this was our sort of initial impulse down. We are then failing to push down past this with increased momentum towards the downside. So there is the chance here to give you the fertile soil for a potential turnaround. So if we just kind of draw in some drawings here so that people can see. So this is your area here, and then of course what we need is a squiggle like this. And this is soil, so this will be brown. Is there a brown in here? This will be close enough to brown. So there's your soil, and what we need to see happen over here is, of course, then this to grow up into a flower, right? So are we going to have any green shoots coming up out here in terms of this thing? That's a leaf, by the way. There's another leaf, and here's a flower. So are we going to get any of this on the go or not? That's the question that needs to be asked right now with regards to how we handle this zone. And that's what we're going to have to handle in this question every subsequent movement down the way, because what you're looking at here, of course, is a downward trend in terms of this 15-minute time frame. What good signs do we really have? Well, there's this increase in volume at the same time as this decrease in terms of, the potential for divergence here. Maybe we need to kind of smooth that out by going towards the hourly time frame and kind of making a comparison. No, the half an hour one, that'll get through that as being a low. Yeah, so in terms of the half hour time frame is what we'll do this analysis on here. You've got these two bullishly divergent, this low coming in bullishly divergent to that previous one. If we see the prices being able to take out that 1252 area, we're at 1230 at the minute, so we don't have that green stalk of flower growing up quite yet really overall. And we can probably characterize that in a number of ways by looking up towards the next key area in terms of the Fibonacci's on the broader time frames and showing just how far away we really are from that. And our last low even currently before this area is over here at the 1250 area as well. So we know that this is important for us. So we need to get above that zone really here or else we're just kind of, you know, going towards more and more down the way at the minute in terms of the really, really small time frames. But this would be lovely for it to start seeing this ticking up towards the top side, because while on the 15-minute, obviously this opportunity would be a fairly short-lived one with a decent enough ability to just put on, you know, fairly easy to manage positions, just you know, in a hypothetical sort of situation here where you could be looking up towards just coming back up for a 236 retrace. Really, we need to see this at some point. We get a catalyst towards the top side, so that was the 30 minutes, so that we can see on the larger time frame, such as the 4 hour, us having the ability to take out one of these areas and move towards the top side thereafter. On the 24 hour, being able to take out these areas and then move towards the top side thereafter. And the 236 is at 1420. So, you know, we're until we can able to go back over to where we started off the show and saying that this is now actually starting to look like a good move from these broad term time frames, where, you know, your target in this one is sort of 1570, and of course your tolerance for movements down the wave take you down to sort of 1170. In terms of the smaller term time frames, you're going to have to kind of see some sort of catalyst movement that goes beyond the goals of any sort of small risk to reward ratio trade there. So it depends on how you want to look at things in terms of what trend is your friend right now for you in your particular circumstances, right? But pinning those two things together, that would be my summary with Link right now. I wonder how you're all getting on in the chat, by the way. $10 Link is a buy in it, says 3000 Trend. Good to see you see that. Yeah, I wonder. New YouTube live platform. At the bottom of the ingestion settings tab, there is a closed caption section. Check the box. Enable captions. Click the caption ingestion. You're a blah 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 blah. Select all, copy it. Caption ingestion. Aye, so they take in the captions, they ingest them from outside. I don't actually have captions to upload. This is all live. Cool. So yes, maybe some other options available. Thanks for trying, though. Thanks for trying. Think you should be his producer, TradeSpawn? Well, in spirit, he already is. How about that? What did you all think of the thumbnail for today? Let me know what you thought of the thumbnail. That would be cool. And if you're just joining us, hit that like button. I'm going to move on and take a look at Tezos in a second. Let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like me to cover with regards to Chainlink here. But let me just try and chuck out a quick summary just now for us with regards to the Chainlink technical analysis. So let's see how it goes. Hope you're enjoying this sort of semi behind the scenes look at things, by the way, everybody in the chit chat who's coming along for the live joyride. Okay, stream marker button getting hit. Hi friends, thanks for joining me. My name's Rocky Outcrop. We do daily technical analysis for cryptocurrencies here in the channel. Ethereum, Chainlink, Bitcoin, Tezos, among many others. And you can join me on live streams. Now, of course, this particular video is a section from the live stream, and you can join us there and discuss things live at any time that you like throughout the week. Of course, that would have to be, you know, when I actually happen to be streaming. So subscribe to the channel so you get notified about that. And taking a look at Chainlink here, we had a couple of options on the table in previous streams with regards to how you could be looking at the minute with the movements. Now, if we just take into account this negative position first off that we discussed, this is taking us down towards a retest of the parallel channel that we've been looking at over the period of the last, you know, since September, so the last couple of months there, and we could potentially see turnarounds in around this zone. If we move beyond it, of course, 1185 at 50% Fibonacci retracement point could be something to look to in terms of you know, the fake out territory and movements beyond this zone. In terms of this trade, you know, you are in a position where you're able to put your profit or stop into profit, and maybe that's something to think about if we don't manage to successfully close below these lows over here. As we can see, the low of the day so far having come in at around about that $12.15. We need to be taking out $12 and really that 50% for us to want to stick with this over the longer period of time, because if you don't actually do that and we move back up the way, then we could be looking at, of course, this trade idea superseding. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice. Of course, always do your own research before you do any financial decision or whatever. But if you're looking in around about this sort of idea, and will we come in sort of for a fake out and not actually manage to really get continuation on past that 50% area, are you thinking that maybe this would be a potential trade towards the top side? Now, you get a very, very healthy risk to reward ratio if you're looking to just simply come in here and put in another high without asking too much. That's greedy, right? by the way. This is greedy. Just wanted to be very clear. Sorry, interrupting my flow here just to put in the fact that really when you're looking at 32% movement towards the top side, you're being greedy. Okay, but anyway, back on with the show. You can get a really substantial risk to reward movement here without being overly greedy. Just talking about putting in a higher high overall in what has otherwise been an upward trend overall without divergence in this movement since September towards the top side. So that's been quite healthy for us if we see things turning around. And we can put this into context from that 24-hour perspective if we dive all the way down here to the 15-minute time frame. And once again, thanks very much for joining me here for this technical analysis, and I would really appreciate a like on this video and a comment. Now we've moved down here. As you can see, this is that yellow line of that parallel channel. As we test it, can we crack back up above it? This line here, this image says 1,000 words for us. As we want to tie this together with other significant movements, perhaps looking here at the DMI and considering these lows before that we had, of course, over here. And by the way, if you don't understand the DMI too much, check out my explainer video about it. But of course, in terms of the strength of movement, we see this obviously going towards the top side, and that's what you want to see in terms of looking at this as increased strength of movement. Oh, I can't interrupt the video too much to explain it. Check out that other one. Search on the channel, you'll find it. It's in the education playlist. Anyway, overall what we're looking at is divergence here in the DMI, just that, there you go. And on the RSI, the same sort of picture, of course, looking at the lows here for this one and seeing that the lows and the lows don't correlate in terms of having lower lows. So could we see a turnaround? Well, cracking back up above that area would be nice to see, and there are various ways of putting this into context for us. If we take this area over there as being our last substantial high and draw in our line here, we can see that substantial movements up above this inflection area here at that 236 in and around about that 1250 area is going to be key for us, and there's numerous other ideologies that could bring you towards that point of view. If you'd like to check out the live video where you can find, of course, a much more substantial chunk of link technical analysis where we hit on that number and numerous other ones with regards to the TA here today, and great stuff. We can see the VPVR coming in and signaling to us another reason why this number over here at, of course, 1250 is important in terms of just this structure that we're looking at in terms of movements towards the top side, where you could be thinking about $13 as giving you that respite where perhaps, you know, we might have broken the overall downward movement that we're looking at here. But what we can also see in terms of just if we don't get green candles soon is we're very much tracing this Bollinger Band towards the downside there, which is obviously not very good for the price action if that were to continue on down the way without managing to break above the 20 simple moving average basis line of that Bollinger Band, and where it comes in at, ding ding ding, 1250 currently with us. So that's what we want to see happen, whether that's on this particular chart on this particular time frame or not. Over here in the 30-minute time frame, you can see that we've got the same setup with regards to the movement, and indeed with regards to the movement out with the Bollinger Band zone that we're currently coming back up to retest, but we need to actually move back above it and beyond, and that ties in nicely in terms of confluence. So that's what we need to see happen. Long and short story all in one. Thanks so much for joining me. My name's been Rocky Outcrop. Come back again for more live streams and, of course, snippets like this, doing technical analysis on your favorite cryptocurrencies. Of course, we do Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, and Tezos on a daily basis. Members of the channel, you can hit that join button down below if you're interested in that. Get to suggest coins on the live streams. And, of course, as well, you can always get in touch with me through the Discord, etc., if you're looking to do all that supporting the channel aspect of things. Cool. Nice one. Catch you later. Thanks for joining me. See you in the next video. Right, cool. Okay, so that's another one of those videos out the way. What do you think of the process? A lot of work goes into this, obviously. You have to be enthusiastic, hydrated. Always, really, pretty much to do anything in life, hydration is key. So yeah, you have to do all those things and, you know, get in the zone. So let's just do that once all over again. And we'll start taking a look at Tezos now and what we can possibly learn from it. Now, there's a key number that we had on the charts yesterday in here at 222. And you know what? I'm just going to hit that stream highlight button just now anyway and just crack on with us, because I'd rather get around to catching up with you all in the chat sooner rather than later. Hi, thanks very much for joining me. My name's Rocky Outcrop. This is, of course, Tezos Technical Analysis. I am the OG technical analysis of Tezos on YouTube, so be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and come back, because we do this on a daily basis. What we're seeing here is that the current price action, looking at the 30-minute time frame, by the way, so starting off here on the low time frames, is operating below that $2.22, 22222 area, and of course we have cracked down currently below this white upward sloping trend support line, jumping up towards the 24-hour time frame and taking the Bollinger Bands off just temporarily so that we can see this at some point here along the way with a little bit more clarity. You can see that we are actually now moving down below this line and coming down to test in at the median line of this pitchfork we have in the background. Now, this isn't the only pitchfork that we have, so we'll also see how it ties up with other ones that we're looking at as well. But the key area for us is how are we going to, is this area, is this zone? Now, we do not have enough yet still, even at this price point, to really say that we've got enough of a breakout on the go just now. Looking here, you can see the increase in volume is minuscule compared to the volume that we've had, for instance, on this period so far towards the downside. Now, what we are actually doing, which is of note, is coming in with the potential to close below that $2.24 area where we saw our previous low, if you want to call it that, in here. Now, if this was to be our previous low, it means that the next high we had was a lower high, and of course then the expectation would be that you'd be closing below that area because you're starting to form a downward trend, right? Is that not what you're kind of saying when you start to put those two bits of pieces together? Well, let's see how it goes, because I don't want to see the increase in volume if we are going to be pushing down past this zone here with regards to this one. Now, if we did as well, actually, in terms of the really, really broad picture, just going up towards the weekly time frame, see a turnaround here at this point. Don't know if I'm going to get access to my white line on this one. No, I'm not. But if we do see this operate as a sort of double lead-in area, be sure to be just to be aware that this could evolve in a very, 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 very broad time frame picture into the sort of the bump and run reversal pattern. But of course, working in the other way if you were to see it kind of knock down this way again. After coming back up to fulfill any future destiny above $4. And in terms of looking at it from the other point of view then as well, once we break past this zone above us, if we do manage to do it, just hide other ones off here, if we manage to push past these zones over here and go towards the top side, then of course we're going to have to look at that as being potential reversal sort of support, because when we go back out and out and out, we can see that we've got this big chunk here where you could potentially put us in a sort of parallel channel. And if I put it on logarithmic chart here, you can see that essentially we've been consolidating for quite a long time. So you can just draw this all back into perspective again by saying that that ultimately we're going to be looking towards massive broad stroke structures in terms of the support and resistance on this one in around about these areas. So first stop is of course this $2.20 area, and the next one towards the downside comes in at $2 or so. In terms of the broad term time frames, you can see that there's a big drop off in liquidity, so that's a very dangerous area for us to find the prices in. We'd rather see this operating as some sort of consolidation, dropping down the time frames then to build up a picture along the way. We can see that we've come in with a low here. How does that shape up? Well, overall, I suppose you could say that it's a higher than this low, having been preceded by a high over here. So we're still in that upward trend, and that of course then looks good. How does that trend itself look? Well, that's not so great, having that bearish divergence there at those highs, and then that means that we need to look towards these inflection zones in there at the 326 area towards movements towards the top side to even be sort of a realistic target after any retracement that we could potentially have against this trend just here. Oh, here comes the drawings again, but we can see chuck it all in the bin. I'm just going to chuck everything in the bin here. Hope you're all okay with that. You can see then in terms of any retracements that we have, that we're up towards the 50%. We could still even be looking up again higher towards that 320 area, where we would just get a 618 golden pocket before retracing down the way. So that's why that becomes key as well. Hope you can see as in between those chunks of incredible mess, how we can pin together different aspects such as horizontal sort of support and resistance areas that we can see in the past, 618 Fibonacci retracement zones, the potential then in terms of trend, and whether or not we would get a turnaround off the back of bearish divergence, or indeed if this is just a boiling off of the overall trend. Because look at this, in this high that we had previously before coming in and putting in our subsequent high, we came up to the sort of all-time high areas on all of our oscillators down below, and if we just drop down the time frame, we can see that story actually continues with regards to all of the divergence chat that we've had as well. So that was the 2-day, and here we are in the daily, and it's the same story again all the way down. So if we continue this story down the way, then we eventually get down to this sort of a resolution where we can see that the important number once again becomes the 236 Fibonacci retracement in terms of both structure and of course our movement, and as well how we're responding with these valleys down here and the potential for support. And jumping back over to where we had our chart before and the other pitchfork, movements outside of this zone are simply in that area that we already classified in yesterday's video as being the fake out zone. This offers up then, of course, a very good long opportunity should we actually want to be judicious about things. I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Always do your own research before doing anything, especially financial stuff, and I suppose I would say other things like flying a plane. If you're looking at it from this sort of perspective, kind of wanting to capture 5 to 1, then you're just simply looking at it and saying that if we do this over a long period of time, it's coming up for a retest of that zone. Doing it over a shorter period of time comes up for a retest of the median line of the parallel of the pitchfork, parallel channel, whatever. Not breaking out of the structure in terms of the continuing towards the top side and changing anything from a broader perspective. Simply coming in for higher highs, giving you huge potential moves towards the top side. If that were to be the case, coming in here with moves of, again, the incredibly greedy 30% that we spoke about in the Chainlink video just shortly there today ago. But of course that all is built on the premise that we don't see movements towards the downside, and of course we're right at that key area there, having moved down below this 236 over here, and of course this red line that we talked about, and come in towards where we could at the end of our sort of patience with regards to whether or not we'll just see this flick around, and looking at this zone here of our previous lows, which comes in at where we find the lower end of the pitchfork. That comes in at that 180 area, and of course beyond there, let's put on one of those faces where you have that type of thing on the go for us. Okay, so that's what's clear, and thank you so much for joining me. This video was a little bit longer than the other ones today because or probably was, it feels a bit longer because I was doing it as part of my live video. So check that out if you want to see more discussion about the cryptocurrencies across the market. Thanks so much for joining me. Really do appreciate it. Would love to see the channel grow. If that means you introduce me to a friend of yours, that would be fantastic, because let me say very clearly here, a friend of yours is a friend of mine and a friend of the entire Rocky Outcrop community, and we love welcoming new people to the channel. I hope everybody, by the way, in this video so far in the chat has said welcome to our latest subscriber here, Joey P. I want everybody to give Joey P a nice warm welcome who subscribed, by the way, in today's video. Anyway, check out that live video. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll catch you in the next stream. I'll be back again tomorrow with more of the same FOMO-free, greed-free technical analysis, helping you become an educated, self-reliant trader. Catch you again. Right, okay, cool. Now I'm back in the chat with y'all. How y'all doing? How are y'all doing? Hi, Rocky says, Navanethan. Hiya, buddy. Good to have you here. Have you just joined us? Let us know if you've just joined us. If you have, what you'll find is that at the end of this video, I'm going to publish videos or snippets from this thing, and I've been doing live recordings. Anyway, you might enjoy looking back over there at the way this video is constructed, because I know that we've talked about the construction of the YouTube videos in the Discord in the past and how we do them live and stuff like that. I would think it would be better if you presented to us live but acknowledged each section, because it seems like the stream is about to end every time you say that. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. I was thinking that just at the end there of that last one that I did. So, of course, it's now down to concurrent viewers 13. A lot of people tuned out, I suppose, because I kept saying cheerio. Don't say bye, don't say bye. No, I'm still here, I'm still here. I see what you mean, Traceborn. Good point on that one. I should just say, and we're coming to the end of this section now, and we'll be looking at these other things. Right, thanks so much. Everybody, I'm seeing 24 likes in there. That's fantastic. 14 concurrent viewers. Let's build it back up again. Sorry for erroneously saying cheerio there during that. And nice to see 3000 Trin giving Joey a welcome. That's what we do here on the channel, by the way. Everybody that subscribes gets a big welcome and then gets to enjoy the warm embrace of your Outcroptician collegiate here. Thank you so much for subscribing, by the way, Joey. And thanks to everybody who's been putting comments in there, by the way. I think it's because he's posting them as separate videos on YouTube. Oh, I see you're discussing the chit chat in there. Yeah, that's what I was doing, Zoner. I'm going to post them as separate videos, kind of extracted out of this live one. See how that goes down with people. Don't mention the war. As there's got a bit of chat going between you there, that's good to have. I'm not really sure. New Cipher is dumping parabolically today. It's beautiful. NU Cipher, NUUSD is dumping parabolically today. Well, you got in here with a comment there, Zoner, and there's been no one else join the queue ahead of you for a bit of chit chat on something else. Let's jump on over to our friend New Cipher. I should hit a stream. I'll do another one of those stream things. We'll just discuss it casually, right? Okay. New USD, right? Like this. Coinbase. Oh, so it's only on Coinbase and Poloniex. And it's only brand new. I'll look at the Poloniex chart. Poloniex. Marginally more information, perhaps. Poloniex, the exchange, which is not in any way rubbish. It'd be great if they came along and sponsored me, wouldn't it? Anyway, let me hit one of these buttons and get this video on the go. So stream marker being added. What do we call this thing? New Cipher. And who suggested it? Zoner. Cool. Right, here we go. Hi friends, welcome to this video. No, we'll start that one again, right? That was a bit bad, right? That was a bit bad. Oh, the stream marker's still there. Oh, it's cool. Hi friends, my name is Rocky Outcrop. We do technical analysis for cryptocurrencies here on a daily basis. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe button as we jump in here and take a look at New Cipher. This little squiggle that you can see in the chart is the birth of a new cryptocurrency being charted here on Poloniex. It's also available on Coinbase. Is this going to be a bright new dawn for us, or are we looking at things getting off out of bed on the wrong side of the left foot? Let's see if we have two right feet with this one. Obviously on the 24-hour time frame, you know, you're just looking at nothing very much. What we're going to do in terms of actually being able to have something to look at on this chart is operate in a sort of 4-hour candles or less basis here. So yes, thanks so much for joining me. Are we looking at New Cipher going up to new highs or new lows? Currently the prices are trending towards the downside in terms of this. Well, actually no, currently they're trending towards the top side. What we have here is a high, a higher low. We can say we started off with this low here, right? This is nothing. By the way, okay, look, right, let me just interrupt myself here, right? And I'll just have a wee mention to Navanethan there. No, I've not looked at Cardano. I'll take a look at Cardano in a secondio, my friendio. I'm going to start this section again for New Cipher because it's such a nothing coin that's come from nowhere. If there's a chart somewhere out there, some other ticker or something with more information on it, let's see that. Tell me the ticker for it. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start again. Hello my friends, we've got a really exciting opportunity here to bring to your attention. It's a brand new coin called New Cipher. It hasn't got any real history to actually do any technical analysis on, but what we are seeing is of course exciting price action, and that of course is the lifeblood of trading. So let's just dive straight on in here and take a look at this chart. Now, financial advisor warning, I am not one, and in fact trader technical analysis advice warning, you probably should be looking at bigger time frame charts than this. But let me just run the intro credits and we'll get back into the chart in just a second to take a look at this fantastically new interesting coin everybody who is anybody wants to know everything about, called, what's it called? New Cipher, NUSD. Okie dokie then, so here we are back in the charts, and as you can see in the 4-hour time frame, we're very much in an upward trend, having started off here with the very first candle putting in our lows down there at 0.096 cents, so our USD, so 9 cents, almost 10 cents. Then the prices rose up astronomically to a high of 32 cents before coming back down here and putting in an ever so slightly higher low at that 10 cents number. Let's call it 10.5 cents, shall we? Then we went up and put in new body close highs at 38 cents, but we saw ridiculous highs up there at 77 and then retraced back down the way. Now, overall though, this is of course an extremely volatile coin. And what was that opportunity that I was talking about earlier on? Well, it has to come in the shape of looking at this on yet an even lower time frame and asking the question of, could we potentially be looking at some sort of upward channel here starting off? Now, what we have at the minute is of course the price action having essentially kind of almost gapped straight back up towards where we'd find the 236. Just let me draw in a Fibonacci retracement point here, and as you can see, if I draw this in from those highs that we had up there at 79 here actually as it was, and down to these lows here at 18 cents, the most recent low, you can see that the prices have been flicking in and around about the 236, having gapped kind of back up here. Now, of course, there's an extremely low amount of liquidity on this coin. Let's just have a look at the liquidity of it here on Coinbase, right? New cipher, new USD on Coinbase. Oh, we're seeing actual candles. Okay, cool. I was going to just retract everything and say I can't, in all honesty, look at this coin. It's not actually even really traded. But here it is. It's traded on. So let's get on with the show. Great. So what we're seeing here is, of course, this sort of potential for this to be turning around in terms of the 1 hour time frame. And this is really going to draw all eyes back down to 20 cents currently in terms of can we stay above it. If we move down below 20 cents, we're looking at sort of 10% movements down here, chunks along the way each way. Of course, offering up shorting opportunities if we want to continue a sort of carousel towards the downside here, having put in a low so far at that point, followed by another low currently if we see this as a turnaround, which actually came in without any sort of bullish divergence, and we are overall trending towards the downside at this point. Now, of course, from the broader perspective, we could see this as having a clear inflection area in this zone here, and of course this is going to be important for us, and that's why that 20 cents price point is of course important. Then of course it becomes 18 down towards sort of 16, 15 thereafter. So there would be shorting opportunities there if this continues down the way. In terms of the 15-minute time frame though, however, in this zone here that we've marked out, showing us where the lows were on the higher time frame there, you can see as well that lack of divergence continues, and the negative trend is still very much in place, in fact strengthening currently, but there is a little touch of divergence, you could say, between these two little pincer points here. Is that actually officially a low though? It's not, so we couldn't say that quite yet. Overall, this is still looking sort of fairly unhealthy, with the potential to get unhealthier to sort of proportions of 10% at a time, depending on how you want to cut it. But of course, support, crucial support coming in terms of the node here on the VPVR, in terms of the Coinbase price action, which doesn't extend as far back as Poloniex, but at least it exists in there at 19 cents. We've so far successfully managed to, in terms of the Fibonacci area, break down below, create an invalid Fibonacci so far, continuing that trend on the go with this Fibonacci. So we need to see the prices moving back up above 25 cents. Otherwise, we're just going to extend this down, following the lows towards the downside. Cut it. We're done with this coin. This could, of course, be actually, good laugh there with that sort of parody of doing a technical analysis video. I tend not to do ones for, of course, such sort of nascent assets as this. It was a bit of a laugh, this whole parody section there. But, there is good opportunity with trading these things. Of course, they're going to experience extreme volatility. There's no historical price information to go on. There's very little technical analysis that you can really do on this thing. You might as well be trading this on the tiny time frames. On the 5-minute time frame, let me just chuck away all the noise here. 5-minute time frame, did we get a low here? Was it actually lower in terms of body closes? No, again, it wasn't. What about the Bollinger Bands? Put these on, Bollinger Bands moving down the way, not actually cracking outside of them at all here. And just, this is a sort of looking pretty crap until you go up towards the 4-hour trend line. It's looking crap. If this breaks down below the 20 area, then there you have it, and you could be looking down as far as 15 even before you'd really sort of get any sort of real significant questions being asked. 16, that's why I said 10%. I mean, the technical analysis I did is real. It's all real, right? It's just my attitude was a little bit kind of off for it, so I don't think I'll be seeing that one publishing anytime soon. You know what KDoc says? I can see this one ending up on the editing floor. Yep, you're right about that one. Absolutely, it's ending up on the editing floor. But there's opportunity here, right? And I think it was fun to discuss it. Cheers, Zoner, for bringing in the coin into discussion, into the realms of discussion. I'm going to have to leave something on here in the sort of Rocky was ear thing, so I'll put a bit of graffiti. Rocky was ear. So there's a bit of graffiti, then we can do a bit of actual technical analysis here on this one so we can remember when we come back to it in the future. We'll be looking at it only on Coinbase. Poloniex, like I said, is a bit of a joke exchange. I'd only stop saying stuff like that if they paid me not to say it. Of course, if you want to be involved in sort of making those decisions with me, you can do that in the Discord. I'm pretty transparent about these sorts of things. You can see the clear inflection area that comes in here, though, lining up with this 236. That's where we found support so often previously, in at that 248 area, whatever you want to call it, and then we broke down, and this is clearly the inflection point for us. So if we do see movements here, could be quite a good time. It gives you a pretty much easy to manage risk. Long, to be perfectly frank, don't want to be too contrarian, but of course the counter trend move here on this particular time frame is fairly obvious, is it not? Where if you're looking to sort of crack up towards just a retest of the 236, you'd have to be fairly tight on your old risk management here, of course, but you're talking 20, and crack down below 20, then and that's what we're talking about now. And then of course, if you do that, look at the percentage points that you could be made doing this sort of thing. For instance, just moving between this low here and the 236, that's 16%. I mean, if we actually do manage to go up and test the top end of the Bollinger Band at any time, and say it happens in a while and it's actually moved down significantly, you're looking at a 36% movement towards the top side. What can I say? There's trading to be had here. There's trading to be had. Just want to say to you that you're not going to get anyone on the YouTubes or anybody else giving you better technical analysis than that. And ultimately, it's going to be up to you how you manage that one going forwards. Looking at this on these tiny time frames, because there is no history there for us, and that's just that. Sometimes when these things get born, by the way, they like to come in and continually test their moving averages. So we can stick these back on here as they get created. They can stick this back on here, and just you can bear this in mind, I suppose, looking down the way. If we go to the 1 hour time frame, will we see some of this happening? Kind of. Not particularly, but it's something to look at when you're looking at a brand new asset, I suppose. Is the interaction it's going to have between its moving averages and when they get created, and will it go and visit them at some point? So you see the 50 simple coming on here, and you're thinking, I'll go and visit it at some point, and then when will that actually happen? So when we see the 200 simple coming on, when will we go and visit it? When at what point? And then we can start to look up the way and get a broader time perspective of things. So here we have the 200 simple, when it came into existence. So the 30 minute shows, 30 minute might be a better one for us. Yeah, the 200 simple came into existence here, tested it for the first time there on the 30 minutes. So the 1 hour doesn't exist yet. I wonder where it'll come in at, and if we'll get a test off of it at least. Maybe that, if you want to talk about things in terms of like stuff that doesn't have anything to go on beyond what I've already spoken about, which would be the most sensible way of doing it, and you're looking for something which is like comes from the crazy land, but you may as well talk about it, then there you have it. That's what you could be looking to. It does actually make a degree of sense if you want to think about it from a just when these things start appearing, they do tend to get tested at some point. See the 200 simple, it came on here, it's like, when will we test it? When we tested it. I mean, it's not a great example, but there you go. 50 simple came on at this point. Will we test it? Yeah, maybe we'll test it. Maybe you get something like that. Cool, okay, right, I'm going to join back in with the chat. Oh, I see the microphone collapsed. Oh gosh. Hey, well, we're coming towards the natural denouement of today's live stream, I think it feels like. Unless anybody's got anything to suggest here, I'll just hold the microphone until we come to the end of this and catch up with you in the stream. I'm seeing you, Nav and Ethan, saying, lol, Rocky's sarcasm is tops. Thanks so much. Even got the intro. You should see the Discord. But yeah, all the laughs there definitely make trading more fun. Cheers, nice one. Thanks so much for that. It's good to read these positive comments. I can see this one ending up on the editing floor. We read that earlier, that's right. One Up won't let me donate crypto, or I'd ask about Ethereum Classic. Oh. Okay, Susan. We'll take a look at Ethereum Classic. Is Homeboy drinking alcohol or water? It's water, natural law. It's the natural law of water. I'll have some alcohol perhaps, or something like that at some point later on. What did we say? Ethereum Classic. Let's go find Ethereum Classic on my favourites list. And it's somewhere in and around about these E's. ETCUSD. And zoom on in. Let's go into a 24-hour time frame. See that Ethereum Classic on the 24-hour time frame back in previous times gave us sort of a nice warning. If we look back to, if I just hide all the drawings so it's a little bit easier to see, 24-hour time frame, yeah, cool. So if we go back over to February and we see our highs coming in here, there was this head and shoulders on the go that gave us the sort of the pre-warning about whether or not we'd come in here for this big crash with regards to the other cryptocurrencies. I'm not sure if this did it exactly before it, timing wise, in terms of the day. I'm not exactly sure, but we could see it clearly lining up in terms of the pattern structure. So sometimes we wonder about some of these lower cap coins, pardon me, that are relying maybe a wee bit more on technical analysis. On the 24-hour time frame, we can see that we've come in here and we've tested the 50 simple moving average. There's been an increase in volume lately as we've seen the prices go towards the top side, having been trending towards the downside since July 2020 up until November. So November saw a price turnaround in around about 17th, going up there and retaking the 200 simple, and we've come back down and then tested the 50. This story more or less speaks for itself. We could see some positivity here in the influx, and I actually like the timing of this coming in with the potential for Ethereum 2.0 to lend some of that mining power over towards this network and see it actually gain in value in a lot of ways as a result of that potentially. Now we are seeing a negative cross here between the 8 and the 18 on the daily time frame. I'm not going to write this off necessarily. Let me look at this movement that we've seen so far. It came up, put in a high, which was bearishly divergent there as such. Well, okay, if we move down below this area, then we could be looking for another move down the way. I think this probably ties up fairly nicely in terms of this low up towards our high here. Oh, you can see all my previous analysis showing up. Let me just hide this for you, Susan. Up towards this, could be coming down towards the 618. We've already tested the 618 actually, in fact, off of this one. So it would be a nice time for this to say that it's done if it wants to, but then we could be looking at, we'll need to, remain cautious on this, because of course what we're looking at here in the 24-hour time frame is this coming right in here for a nice negative cross. So this is really going to be a key area for us. Put a horizontal on here. Actually, should I just remove all the drawings? I have already, haven't I? Just remove all the drawings again there properly. And leave this for next time. Hopefully I remember what we were talking about when it comes to it, but we've got some horizontal lines that we want to bear in mind, and really we're in it amongst one just now. Maybe it's a little bit unfair to position it just there. Looking back over towards the left, do we find that it's positioned better in here at where we found that previous low at? Maybe that's where to look to. So movements down past that will be negative, so we'll just give this a nice big red line for us so we can see this nice and clearly on the charts. Hope you all hear me okay, just checking you're hearing me. That seems, not seeing anybody complain right now, so that's cool. And then what we have on our top side is those two wicks kind of lining up fairly nicely. Over to the left then, this zone, the bodies up to where these wicks are coming in at with other bodies, that whole zone. Let's give that a big green box, just to say that if we actually push past this green box over here, then things are looking very, very good for a number of reasons. What we have here, as well as of course the VPVR would be boiling off at this point, going past that liquidity zone towards the top side, and this being our negative zone where we get the last vestiges of this. The last vestiges really come in here, and you could put in another sort of little sort of reminder if you wanted to so yourself that this zone is being sort of really, really negative. What we see on the downward trend here during that period didn't come in with any divergence just there by the looks of things. What about the 4 hour? Maybe we see some. So what we see over here on the 24-hour time frame, no, on the 4-hour time frame here on Ethereum Classic isn't a million miles away. Oh, I should have hit that button. Let's do this again. So I'm just going to really essentially continue off for where I left off with, but this is going to be the video that I published, so it doesn't need to have all the content, of course, so nice one. Hi friends, thanks for joining me. We're going to take a look at Ethereum Classic here. Is this coin in line for a nice boost to its price with Ethereum 2.0 coming out and a lot of that attention moving away from mining on that network over perhaps towards Ethereum Classic? Could that see the prices go as high as $10 or $15, even 100% or even 300% rise in price? Is this possible for us, or are we looking down towards death and decay? We're going to start off here looking at the Ethereum Classic chart with a look at the 4-hour time frame, and we can see that there is this movement towards the downside. While it isn't 100% the same as what we're seeing on the other charts, it has got a sort of rhyme to it. While we can look over towards, for instance, Ethereum, the daddy coin here on the 4-hour chart, and see, where is it the daddy? Ethereum Classic would probably be the daddy between the two, right? But anyway, if we look over here towards this one, we can see that there's this potential for a descending triangle for instance, or a Head and Shoulders, or an Adam and Eve with a clear neckline, etc., etc. Whereas over there on the Ethereum Classic chart, we're seeing a little bit more of a mixed picture, but we have got some clear areas to define if we move beyond and below. Right now, where we are at $5.80 is a key area for us. But if we want to look in terms of, potential stop zones and whatever else, you could be looking down towards that 565 area. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor, and none of this is financial advice. But if you were looking for that boost and blast off towards the top side and thinking about it potentially coming in at around about where we see any of the current prices, so say you got in around about there and you're looking to manage your risk with this area in mind in terms of movements down there stopping you out, you've got a really good risk to reward opportunity to come in here and actually not even put in a higher high in terms of what would be visible on a daily time frame, but simply just come in and cash out anywhere in terms of 25% movements towards the top side at this point on the way, looking up at $7.50. Now, if we want to extend this out and say, could this positive journey then even continue on the way, what would we need to see happen? And first off, before we move away from this chart at all, I want to draw all eyes and attention towards this ADX in here, with the potential for it to cross while we also have the DMI indicator, while we have the ADX up above that 25 period threshold, showing us that there is that strength of trend if we got a rapid cross here to see things quickly and rapidly devolve, which of course is that other side to the fortune cookie that we were crumbling at the start of this episode when we talked about the potential for it to go towards the downside. So what does that actually entail if we move down beyond 560s or so and in fact take out the $5 target? Then perhaps we're getting a fulfillment from any negative pattern up here, and that's where we see turnaround, and of course that would be nice overall, not taking out these previous lows. But if we do take out those this white line and move towards those previous lows, especially without any divergence on the go, then things could get rather nasty. Looking back the way, you can see that we don't have the hallmarks of bullish divergence here on the 24-hour time frame to give us a great deal of confidence looking at this thrust towards the top side that we've had recently, and we also don't really see that in terms of this 4-hour time frame. So there is a deal of consolidation to be done here as we take out the 200 simple on the 4-hour in this structure, which has got this upward sloping trend line, giving us a key area to be looking out for. And we can get early signals if we are looking across the markets, I suppose, with regards to other coins out there in the world, such as Link USD. Are we going to see it moving down below as I put this back onto linear? In fact, sorry, I should have said I was charting there on linear, on logarithmic scale for, of course, the Ethereum Classic. Would we see this moving back up above this zone, or indeed breaking out of it? Maybe that gives us a little bit of forewarning with regards to this coin. Maybe in terms of Ethereum Classic and Ethereum sort of harmony going on the go here, maybe we see this giving us forewarning. Of course, maybe we see the Ethereum Classic pairing showing us that we're going to get a little bit of a resurgence and just to come in and fill out some key targets for us. In terms of those key targets then, where can we draw them in at just to get some of this sort of noise off our chest? Well, first off, moving towards the top side, this is Ethereum Classic versus Bitcoin. Sure, let's just kind of do this for a second. We're looking up towards 0.03. Beyond that, we're looking up towards 0.031, and beyond that, I would say the next target is 0.032. But what we're really tuned in for, I suppose, is the dollar price targets. Now, if we assume that we're not going to go on beyond the previous highs, and if we just drag this down towards this serrated line where we had our previous lows at, then the first target clearly is $6.22. $6.22 is going to be key. That's where the 236 is. Take that out and you have a very good trade setup in and of itself, just being able to manage your risk around about that and look up towards the 618 golden pocket zone coming in there at around about $7, and we could be looking at ferocious moves up the way thereafter if we take out these targets at around about 8. That would put us on board quite easily for the targets up above. And let me just bring our attention back towards one of those crazy numbers I opened up the show with this Fibonacci that I've just drawn on here. As you can see, if we do actually manage to move up the way, the next reasonable target past the point of this liquidity box we drew in during this episode, we can see is the 1618 in there at 950 or so, leading the way towards that $10 target that we could potentially have in mind if we get some sort of positivity downhill economics. What did they call it? Trickle-down economics, to quote Tony Blair and all that from back in the day in the UK. Okay, cool. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. My name is Rocky Outcrop. I'm just coming to the end of this section for everybody watching live. Don't worry. I'm now about to go on and take a look at a suggestion from Susan Warrender in the chat, or was it indeed somebody else? I think Susan Warrender suggested something, so I'm going to take a look at it. Of course, Zoner, if the and just tuning out here from the live thing, or no, I'm not. I'm staying here. I'm just finishing this recording. Zoner, you're right. It does get 51% hacks, but maybe it'll be able to shake that off. Anyway, if you want to take part in the live stream, which I'm also filming right now live, you can be a part of that community. Just come along, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. See you in the next video. Cool, so let me just hit that stream marker thing again. I don't know how that's going to work for me when I go to publish this thing, by the way. Hope you're all enjoying it. Who was it that gave us that other suggestion earlier on then? Who was it? I'm sure we saw something. We're seeing Natural Law asking to take a look at SXP. That's called Swipe. We're seeing... did we see somebody else say something? If not, anyway, then cool. What I'll do is I'll take a look at SXP. I'm seeing Susan say thank you, so that's quality. I hope I got some decent enough TA out for you there. Let me see then. So I see SXP was a request by somebody, and that will probably do for a request right now. Somebody, I can see you're talking about Stellar and stuff like that, so that's cool. If you're enjoying your Stellars, have I got Stellars on the list here? Where are you? Stella! There you go. Streetcar name, desire reference there. What were we looking for? XLM. This is just to have a quick look at the chart here from a broad perspective. Cool. We're still above the 236. Spoke too soon, Rocky. We're just below the 236 on this one, of course, bringing in that bearishness. If we retake it, very, very good, because this latest low is coming in with bullish divergence, and then of course we could see prices move towards the top side thereafter. In terms of just a quick 2-minute TA analysis on this thing, on the 4-hour time frame, we're below all major moving averages, but taking out that 236 could put us in line to take out the 8 period. Maybe we see things kind of become positive. However, I would very much caution against that enthusiastic feeling as we see the DMI here on the 4-hour time frame with the ADX above 25, and of course this spread towards the top side for the negative trend looking fairly strong. So of course we could just see more of this, and this of course is premature until such times as it's set in stone. On that 24-hour time frame, are we looking at anything perhaps that's positive for us with regards to these lows coming in lower than over here? Well, if you wanted to be sort of bullish hopium on it, you could look towards these lows and say that this low on the RSI is a degree of hidden bullish divergence. You could also look and say that this is as well finding support at the neutral line should it be needed, and you can also look towards this high area here and say that quite simply this is a head and shoulders which is now played out towards the downside, coming in for the shallowest retrace at the 236, and movements up above that would be of course quite positive. All eyes currently, I suppose, stay on the potential for extensions down beyond this zone, having moved back up the way. Just easy quick summary point then to bring in with our movements beyond. We could look, if we're looking for downside targets, you're looking down there towards 0.099, so 10 cents essentially with that one, but I would not get too greedy and perhaps look down towards where we see the 56 exponential moving average coming in at here on the 24-hour time frame at $12 cents, 12.5 cents, and then looking down towards 11.30. If you're looking at this on the 15-minute time frame and you're asking for a turnaround quite right now, can it happen? Well, we're right here on the 886 Fibonacci point that we just drew in there now. We can see the 236 that we talked about previously just above our heads, and of course the 786 and various other turnaround points coming in quite clear to be seen. So if we take it in from the previous highs, it doesn't actually get a million miles away to take out the 236 in terms of movements here, lining up with where the other 236 was nicely in around about 16 cents. That would be very, very nice to see, and that would make a good play out from this bullish divergence on increasing volume if we see a movement towards the top side. Key target thereafter 16.7 cents would be realistic, but of course 17 cents would be where we'd be looking if we're wanting to be a bit greedy, and in fact you could even look up to 17.7 cents. Thanks so much for joining me for that one. I'm going to go back to the live stream discussion there. That was XLM, and I'm going to take a look at the coin that was actually suggested, because we just took that for a wee break there during the show. And be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, all that good stuff. What was the thing that we were talking about? People, let me know. I've missed it. Yeah, good to have you here, Saint Resin. Nice to see you. Sweet, by the way. Good to have you there. What was it? What was it? Sorry, because it was Swipe, wasn't it? SXP. That's cool. Oh, aye, Cardano. Cardano. First off, Cardano. Right, we'll do another one of these button things as the alarm goes outside. Yeah, I'm totally not doing that stream marker thing correctly. But anyway, here we go. Thanks so much for joining me for today's... No, I might as well get the chart up first, eh? How about that? We'll not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, so I don't seem to have drawings on here from the past currently. 24-hour time frame. Nope, cool. Okay, what do we want to look at and talk on this one? So we have had a nice movement up since March. Let's put on a broad put on a broad Fibonacci retracement from March. Just drawing this in without extreme perfection, but to get a rough idea. Looking at 14 cents as our 236, clear previous high in there as well. We've come in and we've been testing that recently, so of course this has given us a bit of a finger on the heartbeat of the altcoin market potentially if we see turnarounds from this point, or if we see continuation towards the top side in the same sort of inverse way that we were looking at the other one. We've got these two highs with that bearish divergence there on the go. So what we can safely say from this is that we need to see it taking out 18 cents, movement up the way. 18 cents, key inflection point from the past. I knew it was. I recognized that number. 18.9 I think was what somebody said back in the day would be support back over here. Where's that? 2018? Yeah, then around there, 13 cents up towards 18-ish. Right, that was at that point there where we got an inflection in July 2018. Cool. Let's make this a fast one. I hope you don't mind, Nav and Nathan. Do you want me to do a bit more? Wait, Rocky making an ambient bass album with the feedback. I'll have to catch up with you. Cool, by the way, Cardano. Yeah, I'm going to keep this nice and brief here for this video, for the sort of the extracted portion of this one, by the way. So thanks so much. If you hope it's good, let me know. Or if you hope it's good, let me know. Doesn't make any sense. If you think it's good, let me know. That'd be pretty decent as we do this one. Okay, just going to add another stream marker here at this point, and I'll just do it really quick. Hello my friends, my name's Rocky Outcrop. We do daily technical analysis here for a variety of cryptocurrencies, namely Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink and Tezos. You know what, actually, by the way, entering into a video with that sort of intro doesn't get you the clicks. Instead, what you need to say is this. Right, okay, so let's start that again. Cardano facing bearish divergence on the way to making new highs. If it can actually push past that bearish divergence, we're talking about a move up beyond 18, perhaps even towards 20 or even 24 cents. Are those heady highs possible for us in the near term? Well, they certainly are, but we would need to shake off any of the negativity that we're experiencing in the short term. Can this be our finger on the pulse towards an altcoin season for everybody, or are we looking towards doom and despair? Let's figure that out right now. Thanks for joining me. I'm Rocky Outcrop. This is Cardano USD. Okay friends, so here we are and we're looking at that, and the point that I'm making about the highs comes in between these two highs in the August region and in the 25th of November sort of high region, as we put in bearish divergence on the oscillators down below here. If I just double check that I'm saying that sort of sanity check on that one, in fact it wasn't divergent on the RSI, so that's very good. Whoa, +1 to the sort of extreme bullish case that we made at the start of the episode, but it was actually visible here on the DMI. So we did actually manage to make these highs, and we're looking right now at the 236, which is currently priced in there at 14 cents, 14.3 cents, 1437 if you want to kind of round it up to something. Then we are looking here at this is 236, and if we can maintain that area, very, very, very good. In terms of these smaller time frames, as you can see here in the 24 hours with the potential for rolling over, reflecting the shape that we're seeing across other markets, by the way, as you can see here with the Bitcoin chart, and of course as you can see here with the Ethereum chart. So well worth taking a look at the other TA that we've been doing today for information on those coins if you find that that comparison really strikes a note with you as we look towards these areas and our previous low. Taking this area out at 13 cents, well 14 cents, 13.9 closing below that would be quite negative for us. We're taking out a moving moving average there, and moving down and looking towards, you know, the next node here in the VPVR at 12.5, and of course our inflection point where we had our head and shoulders in the summer period there on this coin, Cardano ADA versus USD, and that is the 24-hour time frame and the perspective of how important this node here, which you can see expands back out again at this point, really is if we include our historical price action. Zooming in a bit and ignoring it, of course, you know, it seems less significant. And on the way up here, sure, we did great. We did it mostly without divergence. That end bit, a little bit of divergence, seen us coming in to this point here, sure, it's just a higher low, and that's what we can remain staying positive on. But on the 4-hour time frame, we see that we're below all the moving averages here, potentially looking down towards the 200 simple, and if this is our next higher low area, currently that comes in around about 13.5 cents, I suppose, depending on the timing for getting down there. And of course, towards the top side, our resistance comes in there at 15.7 cents on this one. I'm going to be keeping my eyes clean, really, you know, focused on this 236 over here in terms of the support side for us. If not, moving down perhaps towards that low 13 areas, that could be your next port of call. We're seeing that we had volatility here on the go and then sprung out of it with the negative move. This gives us a little bit of hope in terms of finding a turnaround at the 236 point if we actually go back to visit our previous highs, which is so often the case post volatility like that, our previous lower highs in that area. So if I just take in a Fibonacci then to just sum this video up for us in terms of what we could be looking at for upside movement, and that really comes in at saying taking out the 8-period moving average here, the exponential on the 4-hour time frame, and the 236, and going up and challenging these prices up above, going towards 15 cents for instance, is very, very good for the price, and it could see runs up. But I would actually be very cautious on this right up until we actually take it to 50% and 16 cents, or even 16.6666, all the sixes, 16666 there, in terms of movements up the way and breaking what has so far turned into a downward movement. Of course, anything above this area down below at 13 is going to be a higher low for us, the 236 being important for us at the moment. If we do move beyond that, then of course I'm looking up towards the previous highs, which came in at around about that 15-16 area and beyond. The moving averages will give us a good sort of early warning sign for us, and a 15-minute chart might be the one that shows us at whenever it does happen, excuse me, when we start to see this turnaround. Could it be such as the sort of thing, excuse me again, whoops, as we look at the chart just now and see this low coming in and it forming a sort of double bottom here, if you like, which is coming with a touch of the sort of bullish divergence there between these two lows, if you consider that to be a double bottom on this time frame before moving up the way. Right on a key support area could be good. Of course, I think this also speaks for itself in terms of the potential for this to be a really key significant area, and movements down there carrying us on down towards those lower targets. Thanks so much for joining me, really do appreciate it. And I'm going to go back to the live chat now, because what this video is, by the way, is a cutout from a live video, and I have an audience in there right now in the chat room who I'm dying to get back to and catch up with. I'm then going to then wrap up the show and move on, but make sure you hit that subscribe button and come back in and tune in again tomorrow, because we do these videos every single day and I'm sure you will get a lot of value out of it. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to catch up with the chat just now. Cool, that's me done that. Let's just see, is there anything else that I needed to look at? By the way, I saw that there was Cardano was what we looked at. Stella! Acoin. Well, we've done Cardano and we've done Stella now as well. I'm not sure I've got any energy to keep going with this here, and nobody, you know, I don't even know what that is. Is this am I being trolled? Is this Seymour Butts? Is that the Seymour Butts? Is that Seymour Butts of of technical analysis there? I think maybe it was. I just got Seymour Butts. Let me just see what everybody's chatting about, and then I can catch up with y'all in there, and hope you're all doing very, very well. Artie Piley says, as long as the trend is upward, that's it, my friend. It's an uptrend. That's a good thing to remember. Rocky making an ambient bass album with the feedback. That's good to know. I hope it is anyway. I'm going to take it as a compliment, even though it might not be. The hum is back, but that was a great intro. Okay, good. Damn. The hum is back. You need to sound like a moon boy for the views and lols. Yeah, did you enjoy that? Mickey says, hi Rocky, good to have you here. Maybe Chainlink, not sure if you covered it already. I did in fact do that, my friend. You'll find that earlier on in the video. I didn't put in a time marker as I was doing it for you there, just on the chat like I have done in previous videos. Instead, at the end of this one, I'll extract extract it out and make it his own video, so that will be published separately, but you will find it here as part of the chat. I highly recommend you go back and look at it. It was good, because in here we did a big full analysis, and then I did a little separate section for the video, if that's how it works. Talking about jam on chips, weird, but great, nice one. Cool. Anyway, Ethereum is my jam, aside from Bitcoin, said Artie Piley earlier on. Dom Underhill saying, what's up? Good to see you, my friend Dom. Nice to have you back. Good to have all the regulars here, as ever. Current viewers, 12. You might be wondering why that's low. Quite a lot of people, I think, probably tuned out when I was saying cheerio as I was making the videos. You'll see what I mean if you watch back. It was a bit of a mess. So yeah, anyway, the natural end of the video, I think, is among us, is with us here. My thingamajiggy falling over made that the case. You're welcome if you're saying thanks to me, by the way, Mickey. If you're saying thanks to somebody else in the chat, then I love to see it. It's cool that everybody, you're saying thanks to me probably, but still it's cool that everybody gets on so well here. So yes, let me just then jump over towards the Bitcoin chart and zoom on in here. We've got the 15-minute up. Let me put a wee note on here to anybody who arrives at this point in the video so they know what's going on. Hi everyone. That's the stream done. Check out my channel for clips from this later on, where I will have separate vids for Link, XTZ, XLM, ADA, and others, and bad spelling as well, evidently. Next live stream is tomorrow at around about the same time-ish. Still getting that routine sorted. Know what I mean? Anyway, how you been? Just kidding. There, I'm not writing an essay or a letter. So great, it's not entertainment, it's reality, says somebody there. Entertainment, because you're the best damn TA on YouTube. Oh, that's so great. Somebody says you're the best damn TA. To the moon, blah blah blah, you're the best damn. That's so great. Thank you so much, RT, for that one. I really do appreciate it. Okay, cool, nice one. So let me just then say to everybody what I do tend to say during these episodes here as I get towards the end. Well, hasn't it been a lot of fun? I've really enjoyed it, and I'm going to miss you all a lot, but it's okay, because I will be back again tomorrow, so we don't have to worry. Okay, we don't have to worry. There will be a little bit time apart. I know it'll be hard. I know it will. But with these skills that you're getting on a daily basis by subscribing to the Rocky Outcrop Crypto Technical Analysis channel on YouTube, you're able to cope with the period in between and be that strong and self-reliant trader. I believe in you, and I will see you again tomorrow. Try not to miss each other too much. Try not to miss each other too much, but miss each other enough to come back again and join in with the chat, because I love you all so much, and that's great. A reality show at Artie Pile on the next episode of Rocky. What will BTC do next? Well, that's it. That's the thing as well. I actually think what I should really do is start off these episodes by saying spoiler alert. If you are not interested in knowing what Bitcoin might be getting up to at the minute and be about to do and what's going to happen over the next few days with Bitcoin, tune out now, because what we're going to do is, of course, talk about the future, and spoilers right up until next week are available for you now. So if you're not interested in spoilers, be sure to tune out. One of them, big spoiler warning banner on the screen, all that stuff. Maybe I'll make that one of my thumbnails over the next wee while. I hope you've been enjoying the thumbnails. Anyway, I could sit and chat all night, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to tune out now. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Be sure to tune in and try and hit that bell button and all the rest of it, so that you're notified when I go live next time, so you can get any sort of requests for coins in, because of course I'm going to have to try and cut down on the time that I do these for live, because honestly guys, sometimes it lasts for far too long. What are we at now? 10:15. That's okay. We're looking at a stream that's lasted for just shy of 2 hours, an hour and 50 minutes or something like that. That's okay. I'm up for it compared to the rest of the warning guys on here. He's really good. I am so delighted, over the moon in fact, to have people talking about me in such positive ways. I'm assuming that's about me. That's Rocky. See you tomorrow, chat. See you tomorrow, everybody. See you tomorrow, Susan. Let me just run through the names like I have been doing. It's becoming a bit of a tradition here in the channel for everybody who's still with us. And if you are still with us and you haven't hit that like button, that'd be cool time to do that just now. See you. Trade spotting. Sometimes I say train spotting. See you later, Jamie. Thanks for joining us. See you later, Susan. See you later, RT. See you later, Zoner. You have all been very welcome. Thank you so much for your really lovely comments, RT. I really appreciate it as always. Mickey, you're welcome. Thanks for saying thanks earlier on. Dumb Underhill, you came along, you got the end of the show, and that is good enough. It's always good to have you here, even if it's just for a second or for an hour. Thanks very much to Navanethan, my good friend with the longest name in the world. He says that I'm getting feedback on my mic, but of course that's what happens when the whole thing falls to pieces. Thanks very much to Saint Resin for joining us. He is, of course, one of the legends who has at some point or another contributed to the success of this channel with a super chat or a crypto donation or something like that. I'm not too sure. Natural Law, thank you so much as well for joining us here today. We did look at something that you suggested, I think, during the show, so I hope you got some value from the episode. K-Doc as well was another person who joined us as alongside Abel Gatnash and, of course, our other friends not to be forgotten about, such as 3000 Trin and Shivam Anand, who wanted subtitles. Unfortunately, they weren't available. Scott Jones, thanks so much. Another really good friend of mine for tuning in earlier on. By the way, if you're still watching, I can't believe you made it through this point. Really do appreciate it, buddy. It's lovely to see you. Scotty Sniper 93, thank you for joining us as well. And we've got others not to be forgotten, such as the Voice Winners, who was giving me greetings from Spain earlier on, and Bruno, who was very good to give me some chat at the start about whether or not my microphone was working properly until it fell off. Great. Seems like things are fixed. Great TA, says Artie Pyle. Tuning in to the very last second. Really appreciate all of you. If you want to chat here for another couple of minutes, I'll let the stream run for another couple of minutes just for anybody that tunes in as I stick the old chicken driver up on screen and say cheerio again today. Thanks so much to everybody. By the way, let me know in the comments and all the rest of it, because of course I'm tuning out now. Let me know if you enjoyed that sort of behind the scenes thing that we did. Oh, by the way, Richard, nice to have you here. If you're just joining us, let me know, everybody. Good to have you. You just got in just on time for me to say hi and cheerio again. I'm tuning out now, but what you'll find is some good stuff, okay, in this episode. Pardon me. Yes, what I wanted to know was what you all thought about the whole behind the scenes thing. Richard, buddy, if you are just joining us, what I did was I filmed the usual live chat, but then every so often kind of broke character, if you like, or whatever, you know, broke that third wall. I don't know, I'm constantly breaking the third wall. I filmed episodes, like my standard static episodes during this one, so every so often I say hello and goodbye, whatever. Cool. Catch y'all later, y'all. Thanks so much for joining in, and I am just hitting the mic mute button now, so no more I love yous. Trading is leaving me now.
Your breakfast morning.